Can you change the potential of any player in FC26 Career Mode? Can you turn a terrible player into a world-class player? Well, in today's video, I will be showing you exactly how to do that. And I'm talking about the loan glitch. Those of you that are unaware of the glitch, basically I will be manipulating the loan system in order to change a player's potential and turn them into world-class players. It may take a few seasons, it may just take 6 months, it all depends on the player you want to use in the first place. So to get a good understanding of the loan glitch, I will be showing you this glitch with a crappy 16-year-old with poor potential. Now, to do this glitch, your player has to be under 23 years old. The glitch works best the younger the player is. This is to enable more time for the glitch to work its magic. So, let's get started. Here's Mr. Aljani chilling in the free agents. Let's experiment the loan glitch with this useless player. As you can see, he's 16 with a bad overall rating and even worse potential. Quite clearly, this is a player who's never coming close to winning a Ballon d'Or. So before we go ahead and sign him, I just want to refocus your attention to his current potential. So you can see that it's 62 to 66. I want you to take note of this, because once we sign Aljani, this potential can either drop or increase or stay the same. Of course, this video is about getting the highest potential possible, so we want his potential to increase after signing him. So let me go ahead and sign Aljani and show you what I mean. So with this loan glitch, there's a lot to take in. It might come across confusing at first, but as the video progresses, it should become a lot clearer and easy to follow. And you'll no doubt get a clear understanding of what you have to do and what to look out for. Once you've discussed contracts and have signed your player, the game will take you back to your shortlist inside of the transfer hub. From here, simply press back and that will take you back to the transfer network where you searched for players previously. Here is where you can see your player you have just signed. And take notice of Aljani's potential. It has dropped to 60 to 62 straight after signing him. This is of course something we do not want. A drop in potential only makes a player worse. So we need to rectify this. If his potential can drop after signing him, that means his potential can also increase after signing him. So knowing that, we need to reload our save and re-sign Aljani to try and force a potential increase. One thing I forgot to mention is save your game before signing a player. This is so we can reload the save and, like I said, re-sign your player to try and force the potential increase, like I'm about to show you here. So just back out of your save, select quit without saving, which will take you back to the home screen. From here, just select the save you're doing this glitch with. I'm on original manager mode, so this may look a little different if you're doing this on Manager Live. You can still do the glitch on Manager Live, just the reload of the save looks different, that's all. I'm sure you all know how to save and reload your game inside of Manager Live. Anyways, once you're loaded back into your save, head straight back over to transfers and search for your player again. I know this part is boring, but we need Aljani to start this process on the highest potential possible at this stage. So as you can see, Aljani is back in the free agents and his potential is again at its original 62 to 66. So let's sign him back up and see if this time we can get a potential boost. One thing I would suggest is try and sign your players on a 5-year deal. This will allow time for the glitch to progress without your players moaning for a new contract. So once you're done signing your player again, do the same process as before. Back out of your transfer shortlist to take you back to the global transfer network to reveal your player's potential after signing him. Okay then, we did in fact get a nice +4 increase to his potential just by reloading the save. Let's compare that with the first time we signed Aljani. So straight away you notice the potential difference. A difference of 6 ratings is quite substantial, especially when it comes to development and levelling up times, resulting in higher overall ratings. But I will stress, this is not a guide to levelling up fast in overall rating. This is a glitch for potential ratings to grow far beyond certain players' potentials that are programmed to reach. The importance of expanding a player's potential is it enables and allows a crappy player to continue to grow in overall rating in the shortest amount of time possible, because we are constantly increasing his potential rating. Whereas without this glitch, a crappy player would remain as a crap player because level up times would take too long because their potentials are terrible. That's even with dynamic potential. Also, notice the value difference. This is an important stat to keep an eye on when we start to do the loan glitch, because if there's an increase in the player's value, it also means an increase in potential, which of course works both ways. If their value decreases after a loan spell, then that means the loan was a failure and that his potentials have dropped. But don't worry, we will cover this more in detail throughout the video. All I'm saying is that the value of a player after a loan spell is a key indicator in the loan glitch process. So moving on, I'm now satisfied that Aljani is at his highest potential rating for this moment in time. Why? You may ask. Well, again, it's something that I will cover shortly in the video. But for now, let me just put out there that it's because his minimum potential rating is 4 ratings higher than before we signed him. The number 4 is significant because I think this is the highest amount of potential ratings a player can grow to in one loan spell, but we will cover this very shortly. So now I'm satisfied that Aljani is at his highest potential. For now, the last thing we have to check before sending him out on his first loan spell is hiring coaches. This is for his development speed, in between loan spells, that's all. If we scroll over to coach management, you want to have all your coaches at the ideal amount of stars. So for me, Aljani is an attacker, so I want to have all 16 stars covered. I have 19, so Aljani will be developing at the quickest rate possible. So now that's done, it's now time to send Aljani out on loan and increase his potential. So basically, you can only do the loan glitch twice per season. The way I'll be doing the glitch is sending Aljani out on loan at the start of the season and then recalling him instantly to boost his potential. I'll then set a development plan for him which takes the least amount of weeks to level up in overall rating. He will basically be chilling in my squad, not playing from July to January. Why not just leave him out on loan then? Well, it's just because low level crappy players take ages to level up whilst out on loan. So if he stays at my club, that way I can keep an eye on his development and change his development plan if I need to, or give him a different player role. Then, once we get to the 1st of January, Aljani will then be sent out on loan again, but this time on a 2-year deal, and I'll just leave him be and not recall him until next season. But I'll explain why when we get to that stage. So let me fast forward to the point where Aljani is going out on his first loan spell so I can show you the next step. Okay, so his first loan spell sees him go to Wigan for a 2-year deal, but honestly, for the first loan spell, I don't think it matters what length you set the loan spell to be, because we will be recalling him straight away anyways. It's the second loan spell in January that needs to be a 2-year deal. So the next step from here, and this is a vital step, is we need to save our game. This is to allow us to keep reloading the save after recalling Aljani, so we can keep trying to change his potential to the highest possible for this stage of his career. Now that we've saved our game, we need to head over to the transfer hub. This is where we will be doing the whole loan glitch process from, because we need to be able to see Aljani's potential after recalling him. I'll pull up a clip from my last video to show you what I mean. So it used to be very simple to check one of your players' potential. You just search their name in the transfer hub and it would just reveal their potential. But since a recent title update, and EA being EA, they've removed that ability, so now we can only see our players' potential if they're out on loan. So the new way to reveal our players' potential is if we search their name in the transfer hub whilst they're out on loan. This will basically serve as a bookmark, because once we do recall Aljani, then the game will show your most recent transfer search, meaning we can check his potential after the recall whilst he's back at my club. Confusing, I know, but it will all make sense as the video goes on, don't worry. Now it's finally time to recall Aljani. Firstly, take note of his potential, 66 to 70. Now follow these steps, select your player, and then select view in squad hub. And now let's recall him. Alright, so if we scroll over to the financial tab and take a look at Aljani's market value, you'll see he's worth 450,000 and has a green percentage next to it with 0%. Basically this means that there's been no movement in his market value since being out on loan. This is because his overall rating hasn't gone up. You might have a different percentage than me, which indicates that your player's value has gone up, or potential, or overall rating. But this can be irrelevant when it comes to potentials, because you may have 0% like me, but still have multiple different potential changes like you'll see in a minute, in my case. So because we did this process via the transfer hub, all we have to do from here is press back, and that'll take you back to Aljani, where you can now see his new potential after recalling him. So his potential has gone up by 1 rating. This is a step in the right direction, but I think we can do much better. So going back to what I said earlier, with the theory that I think a player can only go up by a maximum of 4 potential ratings per loan spell, I decided to push for a potential rating of 70, which of course is 4 ratings higher than before the recall at 66. So this number here needs to be 70, or as close as that as possible in the 10 minutes that I'll be trying for, as I don't have all day. So since I'm unhappy with his potential change, or lack of it, from here I need to reload my save, so all we have to do is back out of our game to the main menu. So quit without saving, and just reload your save back up. What I will say is every time you recall your player and have a market value percentage change, and ultimately a potential change, just jot it down on a bit of paper or something. This is so you can work out what your highest potential change is. Like I said in my research, a +4 in potential seems to be the highest a player can get to in one loan spell, so I'd say try for about 10 minutes shooting for that +4. So now I'm ready to recall Aljani again. Don't forget to do this in the transfer hub and not the squad hub. So he's still at Wigan, and it's the same process as before. Select your player, view in squad hub, and then finally recall. Then back over to the financial tab to reveal any percentage change. So this is what I meant earlier when I said percentage isn't that important, because like my last recall, Aljani's market value is the same, which means his percentage is again at 0. But did his potential change? Yes, and not in a good way. This time losing a rating, so you know what to do, reload the save. So yeah, like I said, make note of these different potential changes. Give yourself 10 minutes to find the highest potential you can get. Once you think you've found the highest potential your player can achieve, at this point, again, shooting for that +4. I'm not saying a +4 is the maximum. A potential can increase by after one loan spell with 100% certainty. I mean, I didn't code the game, I'm just sharing my experience. Alright, so let's roll with our third attempt. Can we get a better increase this time? Not really. We get the same potential as our first attempt at recalling. Okay, so now I'll go away and spend 10 minutes trying to find the highest potential change. I'm sure you don't want to watch me retrying over and over, so I'll come back to you and see if I got that +4 that I'm aiming for. Oh, and just quickly, if you do recall your player and you get a red percentage like this, then don't even bother checking his potential because it will be utter crap. Okay, so this is the one. It took me 4 extra attempts from the last recall I showed you, and after I recalled him, I saw his market value and percentage went up by 5%, so I knew I was onto a winner. So what was his final potential before moving on? Well, as you can see, I did in fact get that +4 and the 70 rating I was pushing for. Aljani now has a potential of 70 to 74. Still pretty garbage, with work to do. But if we compare that to the Aljani from the free agents just 20 in-game days ago, that's pretty remarkable. However, his development and overall rating are now lacking. So now that I'm happy with his first loan potential change, this is the period I'll be focusing on his development before his next loan spell in January. So basically all I'm going to be doing until January is changing his development plans to whatever makes him level up in overall rating the fastest, whilst giving him player roles to complete too. He won't be in my starting 11 or on the bench, I'm just going to be simming until his next loan spell. So if we take a look at all the player roles on the left of the screen, they will all take Aljani to just 5 weeks to level up to 61 rated. Balance plans just take too long, and he will develop on a balance plan anyways whilst out on loan. So I go ahead and select Advanced Forward, because he already has a 1+ with that player role. So next, I'll just sim 5 weeks on the calendar to when he should be 61 rated, and then check on him and see if it's worth changing his development plan to something else in case that plan makes him level up faster than his existing one. Again, from August to January, this is where we focus on the speed of the player's development. So let me cut to 5 weeks time where we can check to see if we should change his development plan. Okay, so I also want to point out and show you his status. As you can see, it says, at the club since 2029. If your player has this status, it basically means he's going to be crap. But as we introduce more loan spells and higher potentials, this status will change to showing potential, and then to exciting prospect, and then finally the one we are aiming for, the status of has potential to be special. So Aljani is 61 rated now, and grabbed himself the 2+ for his advanced forward role. So, again, all the other development plans take the same amount of time to level up to 62 rated, so I just go with the poacher role. Now that it will take 15 weeks to level up, we may as well just sim to January now and send Aljani out for his second loan spell. Alright, so we're on the 1st of January and it's time for Aljani's next loan spell. Like I said earlier, every season in January you send a player out and you just simply leave him out on loan until the first day of next season. This is because if we were to recall Aljani straight back in January or any time before the start of next season, then yes, he would get an increase in potential. However, his potential would then decrease again come the start of next season. Don't ask me why, it just does for whatever reason. Whereas if we keep him out on loan until the first day of next season, then recall Aljani, this is where he'd keep his potential increase he gained from the loan spell. And then from there, we send Aljani straight back out on loan, but this time recall him straight away to get another potential increase. Then after that, it will be where we focus on Aljani's development again until January, where we will repeat this whole cycle again. So let's throw Aljani up for loan, and I'll skip to the part where he's joining his club. Okay, so he's joining Huddersfield on a 2-year deal. I must stress that when you send a player out in January, make sure you send them out on loan for either a year or 2 years, because like I said previously, we need the loan spell to take us into next season. Speaking of which, I can now sim to next season to show you the next steps, so I'll cut to the 1st of July and the first day of next season, where we can go ahead and recall Aljani. So, into next season, and it's now time to recall Aljani. But first thing first is we need to save our game. Don't forget to save your game before recalling your players. Once you've saved your game, again like before, head over to the transfer hub and search your player that is out on loan. Aljani is already there because he was my most recent search, but for you guys, like I said, just search for your player. So he's 62 rated now, and of course there's been no change to his potential, but keep note of your player's potential at this point because you need to know what it is to notice any change once you've recalled your player. So just like before, select your player and then select View in Squad Hub. Then from here, go ahead and recall your player. So then if we go back to the financial tab, we can see if any market value change or percentage. So his market value has gone up, but that's more likely due to his overall rating climbing by 2. But more importantly, what does that 0% value do to our potential rating? As you guys saw previously, the same percentage value can result in different potential ratings. And as you can see, it's had a negative impact to our potential rating. It's decreased by 3 ratings, so of course, this is not what we want, and we need to roll the dice again. So hopefully, by now you know what to do. Back out of your save without saving and reload your save. Again, we are aiming for that +4 increase to our potential rating. So with Aljani currently at a potential rating of 70 to 74, really, I want to be trying to get his potential to 74 to 78, or close to that figure. But anyways, let's try for a second time and see what we get given. Okay then, so we actually get a 6% increase to our market value. This straight away indicates that our potential rating has increased. But how much by? Well, his minimum potential rating has only gone up by 1, but the max has gone up by 3. Interesting, however, it's the minimum value we want growing by 3 or more. So we have an increase, but we can still do better, with that +4 in mind that we're striving towards. So now you know how to save and reload. You don't need me having to back out to the home screen over and over, so let me just show you some results I got on my retries. I basically want to show you guys that you can get multiple different percentage changes and potential changes, and it can take some time to find the highest potential rating. And a prime example of this is my 3rd attempt. Aljani has the same market value as our previous attempt and the same 6% increase. But when we take a look at what that does to his potential, this time his rating is 71 to 75 instead of 71 to 77 last time out. But this is where you want to spend 10 minutes finding the highest potential or as close to a +4 increase, remembering to jot all your findings down on a piece of paper so you know what percentages give different potential ratings. With that being said, what did the 4th attempt bring? Well, now we know that 6% is currently our highest value that gives us so far the highest potential gain. Anything below 6% is worthless and just retry straight away. Alright, to save you time, let me just skip to the part where I found my highest potential increase. Again, the percentage was at 6%, and again it resulted in a different potential rating. I spent 10 minutes retrying, and the highest potential increase I managed to get was 73 to 79 rated. So not exactly the +4 I was looking for. Honestly, I did think it was possible to get that, but I think I just got too impatient. But a +3 increase is still nice, so I decided to roll with that and move on. So that was our January loan potential increase. We can now go ahead and get our summer loan potential increase. So straight away, after you're happy with the potential increase, go ahead and put your player straight back up for loan. As I said earlier, the summer loan is the loan where we recall straight away. January is the loan we just leave our player until the following season. So basically, this next loan we will recall instantly. Alright, let's start speeding things up, now that you have an understanding of what to do. So let's get to the next loan. July 14th. And he's off to FC Andorra for 2 years, but it doesn't matter what length you set this loan for, as we will be recalling straight away. So again, like always, save your game. then hopefully you know the steps by now. Save, transfer hub, search your player, select your player, view in squad hub, and then finally recall. Alright, so the first recall, there's no change to his market value, 0%, but as we've seen before, this can throw up all different kinds of potential changes. And that's exactly what we don't want, a decrease of 2 ratings to Aljani's potential onto the second attempt. Okay, so a better result this time, a market value increase by 9%, this guarantees us that Aljani's potential has increased. But up by just the 1 rating, now at 74 to 80 potential. Going by my theory of a player only being able to increase their potential by 4 ratings per loan spell, I actually think this is the rating I could have got from the January loan spell had I been more patient. But we move, and we can get a better result than 74 to 80 rated, so onto the third attempt. So, again like the second attempt, we get a percentage of 9%, but does that give us a different potential rating? Yes, it does. This is why I told you to write down all your findings, so you can work out and eliminate lower potentials from your previous results. So now we know that 9% currently gives us our highest potential of 75 to 81 rated so far. But again, I have that plus 4 in my head that I'm aiming for, so I'm looking out for a minimum potential rating of 77, as currently on loan, Aljani has a potential of 73 to 79. So let's see what the next attempt throws our way this time around. Okay, so again we get 9%, and once again that throws us a different potential rating, this time 76 to 82, an increase of 3 ratings. Not bad at all. But can I get that plus 4 and take the potential to 77 to 83 perhaps? Well, yes. Yes I could. With the percentage again for the 4th time being on 9%, again it gave me a higher potential. And this time I was completely satisfied that this was the highest potential I could get Aljani to at this point of his career. So I'll happily take that and move on to the development phase for this season up until January, where we will next loan him out again. So yeah, I'll just do what I did before, where I'll pick development plans that make Aljani level up the quickest from now to January, so I'll just skip to January so we can send him out on loan again. Alright then, so into January, and Aljani is off out on loan again. Remember, this loan will be for the remainder of the season, and we won't recall him back until the first day of next season. Also remember to loan your players out in January for either a year's loan or a 2-year loan deal. So yeah, Aljani is going out on loan for 2 years to a team I'm not even going to try to pronounce. But again, I'll skip ahead into next season so we can recall Aljani and reveal some new potentials. So into season 3 now, and you know what to do. Save your game before recalling your players. Now that you know the process of saving your game, then searching your player on the transfer hub, then viewing in squad hub, and finally recalling your player. From now on, I'm just going to show you the results I get after recalling Aljani, just to save time and to save this video from becoming boring. So the January loan spell was already kind of successful in the fact that Aljani has grown 4 overall ratings to 66 now. Again, this isn't what we are concerned about in this video, but still nice anyways. And if we check him out in the squad hub and recall him, you can also see now that his status has changed and upgraded to showing great potential. So we're moving in the right direction with Aljani. But let's check and see what that recall has done for his potential rating. Okay, so his market value has gone up by 11%. Before recalling Aljani, he had a potential of 77 to 83. Let's see what it is now after the recall. So up by 2 ratings and now at 79 to 85. Not bad, but going by my theory, I should be able to get Aljani to a minimum potential rating of 81. So again, I'll spend 10 minutes or so trying to find the plus 4 increase to 81, and I'll skip forward to show you if I did or not. Alright, so I actually got 4 different potential changes with the market value percentage at 11%. But what was my highest potential rating I was able to find? Well, as you can see, I was indeed able to secure the plus 4 increase to Aljani's minimum potential rating. He now has a potential rating of 81 to 87. He's starting to become a serious player. So now I'm satisfied with this potential increase. It will now be time for his summer loan spell, where of course we know that we will recall Aljani straight away. Going by my plus 4 theory, we should be able to get Aljani to a status of exciting prospect. So yeah, let me cut to Aljani's summer loan spell. Okay, so Aljani is off to Lech Poznan for 2 years. Remember, for your player's summer loan spell, it doesn't matter what loan length you negotiate, because as I've said previously, we will just be recalling him straight away anyways. So with that being said, let's cut straight to the results. After recalling him, as you all now know, how to save and etc. So now knowing the +4 theory, with this recall, I'm looking to get Aljani's minimum potential to an 85, because currently on loan, he's at a potential of 81 to 87. And we very nearly got that straight away with our first recall attempt. With a market value increase of 21%, we know that his potential is increased. But by how many? By 3 ratings. Pretty solid for a first attempt, and it's the first time we've seen a 90 figure in his potential. But like I said a second ago, I'm looking for that 85 minimum potential rating. And I was able to achieve that. Now, after being certain that a player's minimum potential rating can grow to a maximum of 4 ratings, after recalling, it did take a little longer than 10 minutes, but the patience paid off. His potential rating is now at 85 to 91, and like with our first attempt, the market value percentage was at 21% again, so as I've shown many times now, having the same market value percentage can result in a few different potential rating changes. So, that's Season 3's loan recalls done. Time to move on to the development phase until January. So let me skip to January to send Aljani out on loan. Okay, so it's now time for the January loan move in our 4th season. And I just wanted to point out that Aljani has grown 2 overall ratings to 68 rated. And his status has now changed and upgraded to exciting prospect. So let's throw him up for loan and sim to next season, where we should be able to reach the status of has potential to be special, the highest status possible. Okay, so into Season 5 we go, and this proved to be the most important season. So let me just get straight to the point. The highest potential rating I was able to achieve after recalling Aljani this time was 88 to 94. Why is this? Well, basically it's because the max potential you can reach is 94. So once you hit a potential of 94, any loans after that will be ineffective towards your potential. Your player will either drop in potential or stay the same. No increase, which I'll show in a minute. So Aljani did reach the status, has potential to be special, but from here, the only way to increase potential is through dynamic potential and playing with your player yourself. So I just want to show you quickly, what happens if I were to loan Aljani out again like I normally would with his summer loan spell? Well, like I said before, the glitch no longer works, meaning your player's potential will stay the same, with a market value percentage of 0, or your player's market value will drop below 0%, meaning a drop in potential. So, when you do hit a maximum potential of 94, stick with it and use your player to increase his potential further into his career. So now that Aljani does have high potential, it means leveling his overall rating up will be easy and quick, because his overall needs to catch up to his potential. So lastly, let's take a quick look at before loan glitching to after. His potential has gone from a crappy 62 to 66 to a whopping 88 to 94. The overall rating will come, don't worry, but he's gone from an absolute stinker of a player into a world-class prospect. So how far can we now push Aljani? What rating can he achieve? Can he go over his max potential of 94? Well, let me use him in my starting 11, speed through a few seasons, and let's find out. And there we have it. Mr. Aljani is now 99 rated at just 24 years old. Just goes to show how using the loan glitch to increase a player's potential allows for fast leveling up in overall rating. When a player's potential is high, leveling up is fast because the overall rating needs to catch up to the potential rating. And in this case, dynamic potential kicked in to allow Aljani to get to 99 rated. I also gave Aljani a position change to a cam. This is because it got to a point where changing his position was more beneficial to him for leveling up faster than if I were to leave him as a striker. But since editing this video, unfortunately EA has screwed up a player's status since the latest title update. As you saw previously in the video, a player's status would either say at the club since, or showing great potential, exciting prospect, or lastly, what Aljani was on, has potential to be special. But with EA being such an amazing company, it now just gives a player's contract status. Hopefully EA will revert these changes soon. But in the meantime, follow this guide to find out your player's status. I also just want to point out his market value now. He's worth almost 300 million. When you last saw Aljani, he was worth just 4.4 million. Pretty crazy stuff, all thanks to the loan glitch. I also gave Aljani the finesse shot playstyle plus just before he turned 90 rated, He didn't have any playstyles to begin with, but using the temporary playstyle glitch, I was able to give him a playstyle plus. If you're unaware of the temporary playstyle glitch, then I'll link a separate video up top. So then, just before I wrap this video up, let's take a look at a side by side from before the glitch to what the glitch allowed us to achieve after. Firstly, the glitch enabled us to change this god awful potential rating. We got that up to a 94 rating before dynamic potential took over. With the potential increases through multiple lone spells, it allowed Aljani's overall rating to continue to increase, eventually growing a massive 39 ratings to 99 rated, which also allowed his attributes to drastically increase. And then lastly, of course, his change in market value speaks for itself. So I hope this video has helped you understand the lone glitch and how to change the potential rating of any player in FC26 Career Mode. My tip for you is when you recall your players from their lone spell is aim for a minimum potential increase of 4 ratings from what they were whilst out on loan. If you have any questions, of course drop them in the comments section and I'll try to help. Please drop a like on the video because this one took ages to piece together. Please consider subscribing for more FC26 Career Mode content. Thanks for watching and I'll catch you in the next one.